Hey everyone, welcome back to another live. And today it is 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully, for those you can make it, I will wait a moment for some of you guys to jump on and join our live session today. Hey Michael, today I'm going to talk about what you can learn from failures, in specifically with regard to some pain, some problems, and some of my story and some of how I continued into the realm of chiropractic, because it is quite a bit of a story, and I'm sure you guys have your own story with how you hurt your back, how you hurt your hip. So if there are any questions at any point in time, I am always willing to answer them. These videos do get saved over, so if you miss something, if you want to go back to something, they do get saved. So hopefully this episode can help you guys. So hopefully we'll share my story, we'll share some failures, and we'll share some things that you guys can learn from not just failures that I see in patients, but failures that I personally have experienced that will help you to help your back and help your body and help your life. So everybody's story can be quite long. For some reason, it's so hard to kind of convey your story, right? And I find that really fascinating because we have a deep-seated emotion with our own story, how we hurt our back, how we hurt our hips, how we get in pain, and how we get out of it, because it's more than just physical, right? It's emotional. It's so painful to have to suffer for such a long period of time, and to really not get better without any help. And sometimes it just really hurts. So if you do have a story, guys, I would really love to hear it. I would love to hear about it. I find that learning about people's story and how they got hurt, how they got better, really helps me understand them as a human, as an individual. And I find it really fascinating because when you speak to a group of people, it's really often different than what the story is when you get them alone. And I have the privilege in my office to help people one-on-one, as well as in my coaching strategy sessions and stuff like that. I get a chance to really understand people one-on-one. And when I get a chance to understand your story, it really helps me understand where you want to go. And so I want you guys to understand from my story where I wanted to go and how I failed. And so you cannot make those mistakes too. So, I first started chiropractic like pretty much at the age of 21. And that was quite a while ago now. And I was always active. I was always, into athletics and stuff like that. But essentially over one summer, I ended up feeling like a groin pull. And I know this because I actually documented this. I'm very big into journaling. And so I journaled that I had a hip strain. Long story short, never got better. Fast forward about a year into chiropractic college, I was in a lot of pain, man. I had a lot of hip pain. I had back pain. I had leg pain. I had a lot of interesting pain that really occurred to me. And it was so much so that I was getting adjustments. I was getting treatments from chiropractors, from multiple chiropractors, and I just wasn't getting better. And it got so bad, guys. And when I say so bad, I could barely lift my hip. If you ever watched a kid kind of walk upstairs, you know how they walk like one step at a time? I was doing that because I couldn't lift my other leg to get up this high. And so what I did is I literally took my own leg and I pulled it up each stair because I literally could not pick up my leg. And I was in a lot of pain. I was in chiropractic college. I was spending a ton of money, ton of time, ton of effort. And I was in a class after getting a year of treatment. I was in a class, and it was called the Evidence of Pretty Much Chiropractic. Why does it work? Right? And I was like, BS, this doesn't work. I've been getting adjustments for 9 months. I've been getting worse. Nobody wants to take an x-ray. Nobody wants to take a film. Nobody wants to help me. And I'm stuck. I've been getting treatment for 9 months, I went from this really healthy 23-year-old to I can't even walk up a stair. Literally, I could not walk up the stair very well at all. And I was in so much pain, guys. Like, I can't even tell you. For 9 months, it got worse to a point where, I was considering surgery. I almost had surgery, by the way. I've had MRIs, x-rays, yeah, all of that. And I could barely walk at 23 years old. So I'm sitting there in class and I'm just like, this sucks. My life sucks. My life is over. I don't know what to do. Like, this stuff doesn't work. Like, why are you telling me to do this stuff? And I'm telling you this, my story, because for you guys out there, you've probably been to providers. You've probably been to practitioners who, have tried to help you and it just wasn't working and you wanted to give up. And the point is, the difference that helped me achieve success when it comes to my hip was me not giving up. So a lot of people don't know that, like, literally I was breaking down. I sat by myself. I was depressed. I was pretty much like crying. I was spending all this money on what I thought were treatments that just didn't work. And I was really frustrated on my hip and my progress and my back. My back started to hurt. My knees started to hurt. And everything started breaking down. And I just felt like giving up from chiropractic college. Hey, Shannon. I felt like giving up with my hip. I didn't think I'd ever be able to walk, no less play sports again. And I just dealt with it in silence for the most part. So there comes this time where everybody has to suck it up, so to speak, right? And so I literally didn't know what else to do at all, like nothing. So I went up to a professor at the end of the thing and at the end of the day, and I said, I don't know what to do. This isn't helping. And she did some work on me. Magically, like, I felt a little bit better for the first time ever. And it gave me some hope, guys. And what got me from like in pain and wanting to quit to getting some hope and maybe was finding just a little bit of relief. Just a little bit of relief of pain can make a huge difference. So that's really what I want you guys to focus on is, Sergio, I want you guys to focus on finding something that relieves your pain at first. Now, that's not a long-term perspective, but somebody who can help you get out of pain can give you hope that you can restore your range of motion, you can restore your normal life, and you can get out of pain again. So I pretty much suffered in silence. I was crying. I was in pain. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do this. I was upset with everything. And I was spending all this money on chiropractic college. And then I finally asked for help. And it's not until I asked for help from somebody else, it is true, that I actually got relief. And I'm not even kidding you guys. When I say I was crying, I was crying. Like, I get emotional thinking about this because I know what it's like to be in pain. To the point where you just don't want to do this anymore. You just don't want to do anything anymore. And eventually this person sent me on the right path with a right person who I asked for help again. So after I left that, I got another. She told me to go to this person. I went to this person and they helped me even more. I was actually able to run. After 3 weeks, I was able to run a mile, 1.3 miles. And I was able to run that 1.3 miles. Yeah, it hurt. I wasn't totally pain-free, but I was 23 years old. I finally could run for the first time in my life. 3 weeks ago, I could barely walk up a stair. And then I finally was like, thank God there is something out there that can help me. And I went back to the clinic, and things were heading back south again. And the guy was like, you might need to get an x-ray, MRI, or whatever to help it. And so finally, after all this time of going from this person to that person to getting some relief to not getting relief again, and I'm like, this is so frustrating. What do I do? So I chose somebody else to go to. And so what I'm saying for you guys, like, you may have to bounce around, unfortunately, I tell you, to provider to provider, to person, from thing to thing, to find what helps you. And when you plateau, you have a few options. You can continue to stay there, which is not always a bad thing, by the way, because that may be an adaptation process. You can stick with that same provider. You can add on services, or you can go with somebody else. Usually, I don't have an answer for you on that one. But what I'm saying is that when you get from pain to out of pain to starting to get your life back, you realize that there is a little bit of struggle in that progression. And once you start breaking through and asking for that help from that person, from that family member, from a group like this, from a practitioner, from somebody who can help you, there is a chance. But if you don't do something about it, if you sit in silence and you don't ask for help, and nobody knows that you're in pain, that you're suffering, that things aren't going the way you need to, then that's when it gets really hard. And the dark moments that occur in your ears, between the eyes, they hurt. And I know what they feel like. And if you are somebody who is suffering from these areas, am I ever going to get my life back? Am I ever going to get out of pain? You have to start asking for help from somebody, from anybody, in order to get there. Sometimes you have to pay them, sometimes you don't, but it doesn't really matter. You do have to start asking and creating community. And so the long story short after that is I finally healed up after another 2 or 3 months of treatment. And I had some flare-ups from time to time, and it got worse, and it got better, and it got worse, and it got better. And long story short, I still have the same problem I do today. Never had surgery. I feel 100%. And things are great with that. But it took a bunch of struggling. Year of struggling, and then every 2 to 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, I would have a flare-up. And that's okay. It's okay to have these problems. What's not okay is for you not to ask for help, to suffer in silence. And so I was about to quit chiropractic college, and then I got restored by a chiropractor, right? It's kind of funny. I almost hated chiropractic, and then I joined chiropractic back, just in a different sense with soft tissue and rehab and all this stuff. And so that's kind of like what birthed, this group. That's what birthed my own clinic, was me having all this pain and suffering and not wanting other people to suffer as bad as I did. And the one thing that made me change and get out of pain and to my performance, which is why I named this group, this group is from pain to performance. So you get from pain, then you start getting your life back, and then you could go and perform whatever activity it is so that you can get back out of it and you can get back into your life. And you can share with community members like this group. And because I know what it's like to not have the support. The reason some of us don't have the support is because we're not speaking up. And when you start speaking up, when you start acknowledging that you have the injury, only then can you help yourself. And that's really the one thing that I would say that changed me, that changed from my failures. And what I see in a lot of patients as well is when somebody comes in for one visit and they stop coming because they don't trust the process or because they don't know if it's going to work for them. I have news for you guys. We never know if it's going to work for us. I didn't know if my hip was going to get restored. I didn't know if my clinic was going to work. Sometimes I still don't know if these things are going to work. But I can tell you, if you don't try something different, if you continue on the same path with the same mindset, with the same ideas, with the same thing, you're going to get more of the same. So you're going to have to change something. It could be something small. It could be something big. It could be your diet. It could be your movement. It could be whatever you'd like it to be. But I can promise you it's not going to change until you start changing with it. So, I had to help myself. And by me asking myself for permission to ask others, that's how things changed for me. So my perspective is a little biased because I'm in the chiropractic field. I want people to come in, but that doesn't mean they have to come to me. I want them to go to somebody who's going to help them. Okay? If you're suffering, if you're in pain, let people know. People want to see people succeed. And if they don't want to see you succeed, get out of the way. Move. Don't let them in your way. It's your life. It's your pain. It's your problem. And if they're not going to be there for you, tell them to leave, or you leave, whatever. So speak up is the answer to what I've learned from my failures. It's to address the issue directly, head on, and collaborate with others. That's what this group is for, guys. And this is a near and dear story for me, and I would like to hear, what you guys have to say, what some of your thoughts are, and maybe even address some of your stories, because I would love to know who you are as a person, what you do, what you want to get back to doing, what are you struggling with right now, and where we can help you in any sense in a way. Because if anything, if you don't have access to a practitioner, you don't have access to the finances, if you don't have access to anything, you have options. You have things like this group, you have the internet, you have YouTube, you have us here. And that's what this group is for. So don't sit in silence, guys. Come out there, tell us what's going on, and let us help you in any way, shape, way, or form that we can do this. All right? I know back pain's not easy. Hip pain, leg pain, no pain is easy. Let's be honest. But it's harder having pain by yourself. I can promise you that. And that's a different topic for a different story. So let's collaborate. Let's commiserate. Let's be together. Let's share our stories. Let's learn from each other. Let's engage in this group. And hopefully my story and my failures and what I see with people failing helps inspire you to speak up and to ask for help. It takes more courage to ask for help than it does to sit in silence, guys. Just remember that. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out my story today. Hopefully you resonated with it. Hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from. And I just want to say thank you and have a good day. All right. I'll see you guys next time.